But man, somebody was saying, "Oh, you're fooling yourself. You're bullshitting yourself with this whole thing with the cold water exposure." And I said, I don't need to have somebody in a lab coat telling
Right.
me what I am or am not feeling. The bottom line is, I do that. I get out. I feel like $1 million.
Into the cold we go. Once again, I'm joined with my good friend Edward Riordan. We're going to talk remote viewing. We're going to talk cold plunge. We're going to talk world events and see where it takes us. Always a fascinating conversation with him. Edward, welcome back to the Future Forecast podcast. How are you, buddy?
Hey, thanks for inviting me back, man. It's great to be here and always good to speak with you, dude. Always a good
Yeah,
time.
always a great time. We've been doing this for a few years now. I've
It's
never
been a
had a
couple.
disappointing conversation. Always leaves me thinking and wanting more on so many levels. So I'm excited for
It
tonight.
just made me think when you were just saying that. I'm like, man, very soon we'll be saying, we've been talking for 10 years. We've been doing these.
Dude,
You know what I mean?
we're
Before you
close
know
to
it,
that.
we're gonna be saying that before you know it.
Yeah, we're on our way to that point, man. So many interviews we've had, and it's been
Yeah.
awesome. Like some interviews, I have to think a little bit more, and I get a little bit somewhat performance anxiety if it's people I don't know very well. When I have you on, it's like I just get to talk to my friend, and then we end up with these great content and discussions that we get to share with people. And I think like, man, what a cool job. Like, I'm so lucky for moments like this. Just get to
Yeah,
hang out for an
definitely.
hour and talk about stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's cool, and you never know where this conversation is gonna go, which is why it's always great for me,
Yeah.
because it's nothing scripted. We're just going for it, and those are the best. Those are always my favorite conversations.
Yeah, yeah, you and me both, Edward. Yeah,
You
we
never
never
know
we never
where it's
script
gonna
things.
go.
We usually do a 2 minute like, hey, maybe this topic and this topic, and sometimes we get to it and sometimes we don't, but it's nothing other than maybe we'll aim for that direction. But we did want
That's
to
right.
start with cold plunges. I know you've been doing them. It's been a few years you've been doing them now, right?
About 5 years, yeah. I think
Wow,
I
it's been that
probably
long.
started in about 2000,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
I just a little backstory for everybody. I wanted to talk specifically about cold plunges, just for me personally. Edward inspired me with that, and I've since watched some Wim
I'm
Hof
sorry,
stuff. And
when did I say I started?
5 years ago,
Yeah,
did you
five
just
years
say
ago. I'm sorry.
2000? I think you said
That's what I'm like.
2000,
Did I just say 2000?
and I
That's
just
25 years ago.
I ignored it. Like I just glossed over it because I
It,
figured you
it
meant
was just like, what?
2020.
Yeah, I'm sorry. About five
It's
years ago.
okay. It's
2020 is what
okay.
I meant to say. Sorry
Now
about that.
hold on. Are you gonna have a connection later because you talked to yourself in the past and the future where there's a 2000 connection?
I
If you
think
find
what
that out
happened
later,
was back in 2000, I got a voice in my head that said cold plunge. No, no, I'm just joking.
watch, you're gonna find a writing
The,
somewhere or something
the
that you did
future
with
is
a cold
cold
plunge.
or something
Yeah.
like
Well, we
that.
since you said that, I've looked into it and I've been doing cold showers. And I gotta say, they're not the same. Cold shower, I think, is
No.
10 times more uncomfortable than a cold plunge. Because it
Well,
just
let's
seems like
talk. We'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go down. But so anyway, I've been doing it and I upped my game. We have a pool at my home and we opened it and it was about 56 degrees about a month ago.
Yeah.
So I just started going in every night. I was like, I loved it. And then I
Yeah.
have a natural spring across the street underneath this waterfall. So my son and I have been going there. And then and I filled up a Tupperware container for home. And then yesterday for Father's Day, my family just got me an actual tub. I did it for
Oh,
the
yeah.
first time today in the tub so it's been an
Right.
amazing experience. And I figured let's you and I talk about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you want to start like how you got into it, I remember it was headaches, right?
It was. It was. And, the funny thing is that I remember probably 10 years ago, 2014, 2015, around that time, I remember a video popping up on my YouTube feed about a guy who was immune to cold. And I was like, wow, that sounds pretty interesting. So I clicked on it. And the only thing I remember from it was saying that the guy, when he was younger, he fell asleep on his porch in winter. And then he didn't die from cold exposure. He woke up, and after that, he didn't feel the cold anymore. And I was like,
Mm,
well, that doesn't do me any good. You know,
right.
that's not going to
Right.
happen to me. So I didn't, and I completely forgot about it. And then couple years later, when I first heard about Wim Hof, I started thinking maybe that was his video. Maybe I remember it incorrectly, and I think it was him that was the video was about. But even getting reintroduced to it about 5 years ago, I was having a lot of bad headaches. I mean, like it got to where it was about two a week,
Hmm.
bad migraines. I was getting night sweats. I'd wake up in a pool of sweat. I was getting really worried that these signs were something serious or something really going on. And I might have looked up maybe something on YouTube for migraines or something like that, and a Wim Hof cold exposure video popped up. And I think it was like I was looking up inflammation too. I was researching inflammation. How to, what do you do for the, because I figured my body's inflamed, I'm getting headaches, I'm having night sweats and all these symptoms. My body is inflamed, something's going on. And that brought up one of those videos. And when I saw it and I listened to it, I think I ran out and got some ice right after that. I was like, I got to do it. Okay, this makes sense to me. And so I did it, and I felt immediate relief. And I think it might have happened too when I first saw it. I think it might have been in the wintertime. I think that's probably how it happened. It
Hmm.
was in the cold months, and then I took the cold shower, and I felt immediate relief from it.
I remember you sharing that. You said you had the
Yeah,
cold
I
water
think
just
that's how it
beating on your
worked.
head. You had a headache, it wasn't
Yes,
going away. You got under the cold water and you just let it kept hitting your head and you got through the cold discomfort and then the headache went away.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Yep,
Hmm.
that's what happened. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I like this. It's not medicine, where I got to go get a prescription, or anything like that. So I figured I'm gonna give it a shot and give it a try. And since I've been doing it, the night sweats stopped, the headaches diminished. All of those symptoms just go went away. I mean, they started going away, and I was like, okay, so now I was brought into this thing for health reasons. Okay, I have to do this, and it isn't like, hey, I want to try that, man. That's going to be cool.
Right.
It was, I'm in something seriously going on here, and I got to do something. I'm going to try this, and it helped, and it worked. Then after that, then the other stuff became available to me about what it's about and how I can use it, and the challenges of it, and overcoming those challenges. Once it went beyond just being about getting some relief from these symptoms, then it turned into the more interesting stuff. Then it was became an exploration, which
Mm.
is what I like, you know,
Yeah. Hmm.
because to be honest with you, I was born in January in Chicago, and I never liked the cold. I hated the cold. Probably since the moment I was born. I was probably came out, the room was probably cold, and I was like, put me back in. What is this, man? This is horrible. And I lived through all those Chicago winters. and I hated the cold, man. Hated it with a passion. When I moved to Arizona, I moved to Arizona in fall of 1996. So I never experienced an Arizona summer. So I got there for the winter. And I was like, yeah, this ain't that big a deal, blah, 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 blah. So roll around then to summer of 97, and Arizona is like it's insane. The heat
Hmm.
is literally the equal opposite of the winter in Chicago that I hated. It was
Right.
as bitterly cold as it was in Chicago is what insanely hot it was. And I remember driving my car in the summer, and I had a little four-cylinder Hyundai Excel, and it had an air conditioner in there. But if I turned the air conditioner on, I could only go about 30 miles an hour, even on the highway. It was not built for that.
Right.
So I remember driving, and I had to make a decision that if I'm going to live out here, I'm going to have to, I can't fight this element. I can't fight
Yeah.
this heat. It's bigger than me. Been here a lot longer than me. I have to adapt to it. And so I drove for 10 summers without air conditioning in my car because I began to adapt to the heat.
Mm.
And even when I was living in Arizona, I started doing bath meditations. This is where we're going to get to the ice thing. I'm
Yeah.
kind of building the story here.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I started doing my sensory deprivation work in Arizona and in the tub, in the bathtub. And, when you go into a meditation, as you know, you don't want it to be like 5 minutes. You want to be in there for about 45
Mm.
minutes to an hour and really get some work done. And if I made that water nice and comfortable, I had about 8 minutes or so before it started cooling off. And now all I can think about is that the water's cool. And I can't think about anything else. And it's getting cooler. I'm very uncomfortable now. So I had to increase the heat. I had to make it hotter and hotter until it was just straight hot. And the challenge, and I'm talking in the middle of summer too. I mean, it was crazy. It
Right.
was really crazy. And that my inflammation and headaches were probably a result of doing too much of that. And but what it turned into was a complete full body meditation because that water was so hot that it could take me 10 minutes just to get into the bath slowly,
Yeah.
like an inch at a time. And if the pain was building, I blew it out and the pain would go away and I'd go a little bit further in and kept doing that. And as soon as I was fully in immersed up to here, I had earplugs in and everything.
Right.
I didn't feel anything. There was no pain, you know.
Mm.
There was no pain. And I could just breathe full. My lungs could expand
Yeah.
and I can exhale. And I had 45 minutes, 50 minutes before that water would start to cool down to where suddenly I can't I I'm too distracted now because the
Right.
water's cool. I had about a good 45 to 50 minutes for my meditation, you know.
Did you ever get burns on your skin from that?
I'd come out of there red as a lobster, just like the cold is the
Right.
same, you
Yeah.
know. If you're in that cold shower or that ice bath and it's cold, you've
Mm.
got a good cold, you get out of there, you're red as a lobster,
You're bright red.
you
Yeah.
know. And so the hot was the same way. And but I loved it. I freaking loved it, man. And I think, like I say, all that inflammation stuff may have resulted from doing that so many times.
Hmm.
And so when the thought of cold showers and ice baths came around as an option, obviously my first response was, this is the enemy, cold is the enemy. I don't want to, really? Oh, come on,
Yeah.
man.
It makes sense. I mean, but I'm thinking about this as this is as you know your story is developing, and first of all, one of the things I'm thinking about is like the journey of the Buddha, right? He was trying all these different ways to find enlightenment, and I think in our current timeline, we read these stories about these teachers who go through these extremes to try to find enlightenment. But so many of us, we're on a very similar path. And this is a quiet thing. You weren't making YouTube videos about it, right? You're just like, I want to experience this thing and I'm going to push
Yep,
myself to extremes. And
yep,
and just hearing how you're like the cold is the enemy, and it's ironic that well now I got to sit in that enemy to
that's
take
right.
me to the next level, right? Sorry, not
That's
in case
right.
that's where you were going, but I think we all knew
You're
you were heading in that
you're
direction.
absolutely right, man.
Yeah.
Um, because it was like, this is a solution. Oh man. Because my feeling is just like most people. I don't want to go in a cold
Hmm.
water.
Hmm.
I don't want to do that. I want to go in the pool when it's nice and warm.
Right.
I want to take a nice hot shower. I want to take a
Hmm.
nice warm or hot bath because that feels good and all that. And cold is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be stressful, and even can be even uncivilized. As like civilization, hot water coming out of your tap is a reflection of civilization, of a
Mm-hmm.
civilized society. You know, you don't have to take a
Yeah.
you don't have to take a shower in cold water. That's like caveman. You, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
there's,
primitive.
it's a really deep psychological thing when you
Yeah.
really start to think about it. And so it was when I first started doing it, the luckily I'd have to say when I think about it now, it was based on the headache, the migraine headaches and the night sweats. I mean, I'm talking waking up in a pool of sweat. I'm not talking just a little sweaty.
Hmm.
I'm in a pool of sweat. And so that was my motivating factor going into it, which really helped me get past all the rest of it because it was like, nah, dude, I got to do this. I need to see what's going on here, and it worked. Um, but I tell you
You're
what, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just say you're at that point of desperation, right? And
Total
there's those
desperation.
times where it's like I need to try something else, something you never. Because I agree, cold is awful. There's I can step into a lukewarm shower, even a shower that's too hot, and I'm willing to adjust it and deal with that. The cold, there's something so bitter, so abrasively uncomfortable that I don't want to deal with. I'm like, I hate being cold. I absolutely
Yeah,
hated it.
yeah.
So yeah, but you were at that point where you had no other choice, it sounds
I
like.
had no choice, man. And I really think that it's like a human condition thing, like our DNA, goes back to, you know, we don't like, cold water or there's no way, that'll kill
Right.
me or
Right.
whatever. Um, but humans have been doing it forever, and that's really what I learned mostly from listening to Wim Hof
Mm-hmm.
is that this is really part of the survival mechanism of humanity is to be able to take control of our own body chemistry and really looking at it as being your own internal alchemist. I'm going to change my body chemistry. How are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to do it with, I'm going to do it with some cold water to begin with,
Right.
and and experiment and explore that, and then see what happens. Because what I found doing cold showers and ice baths, and I mean cold showers in the wintertime, not like summertime, lukewarm
Right.
pool
Right.
water, cold
Right.
showers, middle of winter kind of stuff, is that um, when you get, when you prepare mentally for it, it's no different than when I was doing the hot bath meditations. This is just a completely different kind of meditation. It's an upgrade
Mm-hmm.
um, in its difficulty. But what I noticed was that once I got past, this like a very long 30-second adjustment cycle, 34 to
Right.
30 to
Right.
45-second adjustment, which is pretty can
That's
be pretty
that's
brutal.
long. That's slow.
It's
It's a
a
slow
very
30 seconds.
it's the
Mm-hmm.
longest 30 seconds of your life.
Yeah.
Um, but once you get beyond that, it's like you feel your body chemistry changes.
Hmm.
You feel it. You witness it, and I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is adjusting my mind to 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 do this,
It's like
even
a
though it's
calibration, right? Like you're because your body's going fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, and you're telling yourself, I'm okay. See, I'm breathing like I'm okay.
yep.
And you're convincing your body that this is the new normal right now. And then you feel that shift everywhere as you're trying to stabilize yourself.
I look at it as the only part that's having a problem is my mind.
Hmm.
My body has no problem with it. My body is going to adjust, and it does adjust.
Hmm.
Um, my job going into it is that I have to control my mind. I have to control my stress in my mind because my mind is saying, "Get the hell out of here.
Hmm.
This is crazy. This is painful. This is uncomfortable. I could be doing something else. A hot cup of coffee would be good right about now." And all that kind of stuff. So then the challenge is to be completely 100% present right there. And you said it, breathe. My body's going to do exactly what it needs to do. I just got to stay out of the way, keep control of my mind and my emotions. And then after about 45 seconds or so, um, it's like a suit of armor came over my body, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm not just standing there with a here, I'm turning around. It's front, side, back,
Right.
over the head, down the back, which is
That's a
down the back is the
that's a
worst.
rough one. That's a
Down the
rough.
back
Yeah.
is the worst.
Hmm.
And so I'm moving, turning in a circle, man.
Is this in the shower still, or is this when you're in the tub?
In the shower, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, and the
that's my
shower.
routine for the shower.
Yeah, the showers, and I hate the shower. I really do. But that's what I do when I'm in there. I'm constantly moving and
Yeah.
adjusting myself so the water is hitting me. I find
Uh-huh.
the shower though, I think maintains the shock factor when you're in the shower. Like when you get in the water, you're shocked and then you adjust. But in the shower,
Yeah.
there's something about it. I just feel like I'm keeping that initial moment of shock throughout,
Yeah.
or it lasts much longer, I should say.
Yeah. Because that water's coming out. It's not standing still. It's coming
Yeah,
at you.
yeah.
And it's funny because the way my water pipes are here, my shower up here on the second floor. Let's say it's the dead middle of summer, or I'm sorry, winter. It's, January, February. It's 20 degrees outside. I turn it to straight cold, and I'm running that cold, and I'm doing it for whatever, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever I'm gonna do. And how my pipes work is that uh, now that water's coming groundwater. It's not the cold stuff from the pipes in the
Hmm.
attics and stuff like that. It ends up coming groundwater, and that groundwater warms up. It's not as cold as what's in your pipes.
Hmm.
And so then when I'm done, I'll turn it straight hot, all the way hot. And what happens then is all that freezing cold water in the hot pipes,
Mm,
that then comes.
that
So I
shoots
go,
out.
it drops about 8 degrees, 10
Yeah.
degrees. for that
Yeah.
water, and it's freaking cold. It's colder. It's the coldest one.
Right.
So
Right.
I finish with it being the most challenging,
Most cold.
most,
Yeah.
and before it warms up.
Hmm.
And, and I'm like, whew, I made it, man. I
You
made
made
it.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
freaking beat red like a freaking lobster.
Right. Right.
And but that's the challenge that I go after when I'm in there because I want to go to the very freaking edge of what I can handle.
Hmm.
And that offers me that. It offers me that, where I'm like, this is so freaking cold, man. I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can
Right.
handle it. And when
Right.
when I start getting that stress, that's increasing my heart rate. That's causing me it's that's the signal that I have to breathe and get that stress out of my mind, because I can handle it.
Hmm.
I can. The body can handle much more
Right.
than that, man. It's my
Right.
mind that's telling me I can't handle it. And that's when I push it to the very freaking edge, man. And that's what I appreciate the most. That's exactly where I want to go. I want to go right up to the freaking edge of the cliff, you know,
Hmm.
and it's freaking awesome, man. I love that.
And I think that speaks to like our last conversation. We were talking about how remote viewing extends beyond the session and it's part of your life, and how these practices, these explorations, it's all about, I mean, especially with you, it's been a thread of yours is exploring your own mind, right? What am I capable of and how does my mind work? And you know how your mind works in every day-to-day situations, but you really don't know yourself, in my opinion, until you are in a high stress, high fear situation. You learn how you react. And then when you willfully experience those things over and over again, and you say, okay, how can I change my reaction and take control of that fear mechanism or that stress factor? That's when you really start to do the work and start to understand, like, how does my mind work in a variety of situations?
100%, man. You got it
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, you hit it
Yeah.
right on the mark. Because it's a stress. It's a stress thing. Cold water, and just like you're saying, stressful situations, real world or whatever. A big part of it is stress management. Because going into cold water is freaking you're just like, I'm going to die. This is gonna
Yes.
kill me,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a dreadful and now I'm at like I used to take a long time before I would get in. I'd be hyping myself up for it. And I
Yeah,
found that now, because I understand how quickly my body adjusts when I'm
yeah,
submerged, I get
yeah.
right in, because otherwise it's too painful to just sit there and think about it. So I
I
just get right
know.
in, and then that
Yeah.
part is over with, and then I can enjoy the experience and then go
Yeah.
about my day.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And you learn just exactly like you're saying, you learn that prolonging it is only indulging the stress
Right.
and making it more uncomfortable. And that's much worse than getting into the cold water.
Right.
Cold water is
Right.
isn't is a lot easier than doing that, you
Then the
know?
anxiety over it, and
Yeah.
the reason I got into this for mental health purposes, because I've
Yeah.
always been looking at my mind and my mental health between depression, anxiety, ADHD, all that stuff. And there's a lot of benefits. It increases your output of dopamine, which I struggle with, which is your reward center. And then there's norepinephrine and all these other,
That's right.
feel good things that I struggle to have. And
Yeah.
when I'm doing these cold plunges in conjunction with everything else that I do, I
Yeah.
notice it, man. For the next couple hours afterwards, like I feel really good. I'm
Oh,
really
I know,
productive. I'm really
man.
focused. It has made such a difference for me. As now it's one of those things for me. It's like it's essential for the stability of my own mental health for me to continue to do a process like this.
That's right, man. You're
Yeah.
100% correct. And that's part of it. Um, and I get this from Wim Hof. Wim Hof's,
Hmm.
is that that's the part of being able to take control of the own chemistry of your body.
Right.
The cold plunges are you taking and adjusting your own chemistry. You being your own alchemist.
Hmm.
You're adjusting it by doing these things. Dude, when I get out of a cold shower or do the cold ice bath, man, I feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like $1,000,000.
You just slayed the
Part of it
dragon,
is
man.
thank God I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. It's over with. It's
Yeah,
completely over with. Yeah.
and that's part of it. It's part of
Hmm.
it. But man, somebody was saying, "Oh, you're fooling yourself. You're bullshitting yourself with this whole thing with the cold water exposure." And I said, I don't need to have somebody in a lab coat telling
Right.
me what I am or am not feeling. The bottom line is, I do that. I get out. I feel like $1,000,000.
Right.
I don't need anybody to tell me how I feel.
That's
That's
just
how
it.
I feel, you
Yeah.
know?
I
And
completely agree.
yeah,
Completely agree. It works for you, because there's a lot of research on the placebo effect, and I don't think that's what this is. But who cares? When you're dealing with your own health, your own mental well-being, you reach a point, like we talked about earlier, of desperation. I don't care if someone can come here with a lab coat and prove it. I don't care if it's all in my head. It works. And
that's
it's
right.
worked. Like I keep notes, I keep data. Like I can show the data for me how long this has worked, how consistently this has worked, and when I don't do it, what the outcome is of it.
That's
So
right.
it works for me, and I don't need anybody else to tell me, good, bad, or the ugly.
Absolutely. I remember seeing this one video. This woman, I think maybe she lives in Sweden or something like that. And um, she was doing this video where she went out to the lake. I mean, there's 4 foot of snow everywhere, and she cut a hole in the ice and went in and submerged herself. And what she was saying was the reason she was doing that was because she had been every year prior to that, she'd get sick every winter. She would deal with depression and all these different things, get the flu, whatever, and and would fight the season. And she decided not to do that anymore. And so the cold plunge was to adjust to the season, not fight it, live with it, be part of it. And she didn't get sick that year. She didn't have the same emotional things that she had from the winter
Mm.
depressions and all that kind of stuff. It totally changed her chemistry,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I
And
believe it. I mean, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, when I look at it from that point of view, it's like that's how it is supposed to be, you know.
Yeah.
Humans that came from cold climates had to deal with it. Being around cold and cold water is part of the human experience for millions of years, man. Unless
Hmm.
you're from a group of people that mostly lived around the equator or something like that. But if you're from the north or far south or whatever, you have cold in your DNA, man. We just lived with
Yeah.
it. It's just
Yeah.
part of us. And I think it kind of um, reignited a part of that too. You know, that part of this is part of who part of my DNA. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, it brings something to life. I don't know. My people are a tropical people. So it shocked my DNA. I've always hated the cold. I was sitting there this morning and I'd say, as a measure, like my pool was at 56 degrees when I started doing it. So I'm guessing now, because I don't have a thermometer yet. I'm guessing the cold spring was probably at about 48. And today when I got in, it was probably like, because I poured it. I have a well, so it came right out of the well, the real cold, and then I had two huge things of ice that I put in there. I'm guessing it's probably about 42 to 44, and that was probably the coldest I've ever done was this morning. And again, this is a guesstimate, but I'm sitting there this morning going, can I really do this in the winter? Like it's great now because it's, 65 degrees outside this morning, but I'm going to work up to it and I'm sure I'll be fine. But there's that anxiety that's there. Like
Yeah,
this winter is going to be cold. It's going to be gray. It's going to be dark. I'm not going to want to come outside when it's probably 25 degrees out where I live and then
yeah,
get in water, to
yeah.
start my day.
I
We'll
know.
see.
I know.
That's the challenge, right?
It's gonna be that's gonna be the challenge. But you know that if you
Yeah.
do it, you're gonna get out of there going, "Oh, thank God I did that, man. I'm so
Yeah.
glad I did that." You know,
You feel so
'Cause you-
good.
you're just charged up and ready to go, you know. What I did was I had to figure out something to do for the warmer months when I don't have that kind of cold available coming out of the shower.
Hmm.
And so I tried all kinds of things. I went and got a big plastic garbage bin,
Hmm.
and
I remember, yeah, I remember you sending us pictures of you
yeah,
doing it.
yeah, I
And
did
at
a
that point, we're
video.
like, what is he doing, man?
Yeah,
Because you were really into it and
yeah,
showing us.
yeah.
And I remember seeing those. Yeah.
And pouring bags of ice in there and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And but I was like, I started thinking about that, and it was like, I don't have a well, so I pay for my water,
Yeah.
and water's very expensive out here. And to fill up that big bucket requires a lot of water, a
Hmm.
lot of water. And then if I got to go buy, a bunch of bags of ice, and then I got to do that, that's an additional cost. And um, so I was like, I don't think this is really going to work. So I got a little portable bathtub on eBay.
Uh,
It's
yeah.
about, 3.5 foot high or whatever, when you're supposed to just sit in it and wash up.
Right. Right.
Got one of those, thinking, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. Again, to fill that thing up, enormous amount of water, just a huge amount of water. And I'm like, this is very wasteful because I'm not going to use it more than once,
Hmm.
maybe twice, maybe three times. Then the
Hmm.
water's going to get dirty. It's going to get nasty. I got to dump it all out. It's too expensive. And, the ice in that environment, the ice melts really fast, doesn't stay very cold very long. So like I had to come up with something new, you know, that was going
Hmm.
to really, really challenge me without being so requiring so much, like all that water. So what I did was I got a plastic storage bin, like one you'd put blankets in or whatever.
It's funny. That's what I was using up until yesterday.
Yeah. Actually, it's right here, actually. This is it right here.
Yeah, that's exactly, mine was a little bit bigger, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was using.
And so um, because the ice melts too fast, if I got like 10 trays of ice, 10,
Hmm.
filled up my whole freezer with trays of freaking ice cubes. They
Right.
don't last. They don't
No.
last. The water doesn't get cold. And so I was like, I got to do something else, man. So I got these pint-sized Tupperware containers, and I got like 10 of those and filled them with water, put the lid on them, put them in the freezer. They freeze up. So when I'm ready to do that, I'll fill that up about 2/3 with water, and I'll load up those blocks of ice in there. And it gets freaking ice cold. I mean, it's
Yeah.
30 something degrees. And those blocks are big and they take a long time to melt.
Yeah.
I'll throw a couple in there and they'll melt quick because of the temperature of the water. And then I'll put the rest of them in there. And it takes a long time for them to melt because the water temperature has gone down so much.
Hmm.
So they don't melt that quick. But when they do, all of that frozen water then is released, and
Hmm.
now you just got freezing freaking water, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Yeah. So what I do is the first thing I do because I want to, I want to work on the back of my neck and my head for my headache issue. So I'll just lean over the tub and I got a cup and I just start pouring
Hmm.
that over my neck and my head. And until the blood vessels in my head constrict so
Right.
much that now the challenge is how much can I do this? You know,
Right.
and but I do the breathing. Got to mention that too. The breathing,
Yeah.
that's the most important. That is as important, if not more. But I do
Hmm.
the breathing to get the breathing, get the oxygen moving, get the blood pumping through those veins again. And the water then pours over and then back into the tub, so I'm not wasting that water, So and I'll do that. I'll do that maybe 10 rounds of that. And then I'll take a rag and I'll introduce the rest of my body to that cold water.
Mm.
And then I'll start doing you know,
The really cold stuff.
whoa, man, down the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy,
That's
oh my God, dude. This is like 36-degree freaking water. And then,
yeah.
but it's just the same thing. Breathe, hold steady, boom, boom, boom. And I'm just dumping them. Boom, pow, 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 dumping them, dumping them.
Right.
And then my body starts to go through the process of that of being cold like that, and I can feel I'm feeling my body the entire time. Yep, there it is. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And then I'll stop. I'll stop and breathe, and my whole body is now all the blood's coming back.
Right.
It's going down and it's coming back, and I can feel it. I can feel it. Same in my head and everything, and it starts to kind of get flush again. Boom! Now, as soon as it goes flush, I'm doing another round. Do 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 do, and I feel it again, and I sit up and I breathe again, and I can feel it. Feel my whole everything is changed, and it's starting to blood's coming back, and I'm just it's my body chemistry, dude.
Right.
I'm in control of
And
my body chemistry.
and it sounds like you are shocking and reshocking. Like you're at there's that uncomfortable point, and it sounds like you are prolonging that point and sitting in it.
Yeah,
Like because you keep pouring it. Like I sit in the tub, and and the new tub I got, it's like it's up to here. I'm completely submerged, and it's
yeah,
cold. Like I freeze. I took my kids like sand buckets, and I have a deep freezer, so I fill them up and I put them in. And like this
yeah,
morning, they froze most of the way, but the center remained like thawed out.
yeah.
So that was
So
like
it's super cold,
33-degree water.
super
So as the
cold.
top melted, then it all pours out. And it's like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh. But I'm sitting there and I get to that point, so the shock is gone. There
yeah,
is no return of the blood flow to then shock myself again. I'm
yeah,
like, cool, I'm here, I'm done, I'm getting out, I'm
yeah,
done for the day.
yeah.
You're sitting in that and
Oh yeah, I
raising
want
and
to go there.
lowering
I
and
want to keep
raising
going
and
there. Yeah, keep going there,
that's
man.
intense.
Oh, it's so great,
Yeah.
man. It's so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
not there, but I believe you.
I'll do that until there's maybe a third left of the water left in the tub in
Hmm.
the bin, and the ice is pretty much all melted, little thin little thing. And then I'll do that last round. Try to get 4 or 5 rounds of that in. Let my body start coming back up again, and then I just lift it and I slowly pour the rest
Mm,
over. And
yeah.
that's a long, prolonged thing.
Right. Right.
And if I time it right, that water is so freaking cold, and my neck is like frozen. It's like frozen.
Yeah.
I can barely even turn my head. My neck
It's almost numb.
it's
Yeah.
frozen, dude. And then I just sit and I breathe, you know, sit and breathe and just let my body go through the entire process. I'm in no hurry or anything like that. And I look and I'm red as a lobster. And as long as I'm
Right.
red as a lobster, I know I hit the good
You,
spot, you know.
you did what you needed to.
Yeah.
It's amazing how creative, you get. And I think it speaks to the determination of like, I want to have this experience. I can't just easily go have this experience. Like, when I was like exploring this, just a couple weeks ago with my son, we had to hike through the woods, through the game lands, and through like tons of poison ivy, thorn bushes, everything. I just kept going back. And the one day, I actually have a video coming out on this. I'm hiking through it by myself. The sun's going down because like I got to get in under this waterfall because there's a little tide pool that I would sit in, and there's fresh bear scat everywhere. So now I'm alone in the wilderness. And like when I say fresh, I mean within the last half hour, this bear is somewhere in the
Oh,
area.
oh
So
my
I'm
God.
walking through and I'm like, what am I doing? But I want to go have this experience. And now you start
Yeah.
thinking, what if the bear comes out? What if there's cubs? Thorns are cutting me. I'm walking through the poison ivy. And then you get to the spring and
Yeah.
you just sit in it. And it's like, yeah, this is what I
Yeah.
wanted. This is why I did all that.
That's right,
And
man.
that's what makes it's the journey, I think, that helps build that resilience is the fighting to get to the uncomfortable thing is what
Yeah.
helps build a lot of that experience with it.
Yeah, that's the reward, you know. You're
Yeah.
going through that like you're saying, you're going through this like danger zone, you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get there. And
And
then
you're
you
dealing
get
with
there,
that
it's like,
fight or flight.
oh.
Right. Yeah, that's just it. And you have to turn that, like, I had to turn that off. Like, as I'm sitting in the spring, and black bear typically, we have black bear in Pennsylvania. They typically run away. They don't want to come near you unless they have cubs and it's springtime, so cubs are around. So you have to be able to go do this, to do the breathing, to clear yourself, to relax. I wanted to relax and not be afraid that there's a bear somewhere around me that's going to come rip my head off, which probably won't happen, but you know how it gets when you get afraid. Your mind tries to race
Oh,
and run
oh
away.
yeah, no
So now
doubt.
you have to control that. You have to deal with the cold. You have to deal with it's starting to get dark and there is no trail. I got to just make my way through, to get back home. So it's a journey to go through these experiences sometimes.
Yeah, that is quite the journey, man. That's an awesome one too. That's my
Yeah.
kind of journey there, dude.
Yeah, when I mean there were like four piles of scat like as I'm going like on the trail like the little deer path that I was following. I was like, oh, and I was like, man, this is so fresh right now. And one part was all like flattened down. I was like, man, this is where I was sleeping. Like
Oh
I was really getting
man.
freaked out, man. But I just kept going.
Yeah.
That
Wow,
was
what a
it.
freaking journey that was, man.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool one.
Wow, wow. Well, hey man, like you're saying, the benefits of it is norepinephrine in the brain, noradrenaline,
Yeah,
um,
dopamine.
dopamine, um, white blood cell production,
Hmm. Yeah, it's great
um,
for your immune system.
yeah, and inflammation issues,
Hmm.
and it's just I think it's really cool to be able to affect your body's chemistry like that.
Yeah,
That is
I
probably
agree.
about the coolest thing.
And I guess I have to give the disclaimer. Like, obviously, if you've got some medical stuff, consult with your doctor with these things because if you got some heart conditions or anything like that could
Yeah,
cause you some problems. So we're
yeah,
not saying like go jump in the cold bathtub and you're going to be cured of all your ailments.
right.
You and I, we know our bodies, we know our minds, we know, you know, we're comfortable pushing ourselves with these, in some cases, experiments. We're not just randomly watching a video on the internet and saying, oh, I'm going to try that and I'm never taking medicine again. Like I
Definitely
still
not
take my
saying that.
medication that I need
Yeah,
to, but these are
yeah,
things that as we explore, they really do have some benefits and enhance. And there's something that is so empowering about it. Like I just took control of my health. I just took control of an ailment that was bothering me that
yeah,
no doctor has been able to fix for me. And that's an amazing feeling.
yeah, yeah. That and I overcame the fear of getting into the cold or fear of the
Yeah.
cold, that kind of thing too, and being able to get past that, like you're saying, when you've decided to go into a cold bath or a cold shower or ice bath or whatever. And then you're dealing with the anxiety and the mind is you're trying to prolong doing it. And you're in
Hmm.
this agony of, let me try to hype myself up.
Right.
And which is just a common fear amongst people when it comes to going into a stressful situation, something
Right.
as uncomfortable as that. But as you know, and as I know now too, getting into it is less stressful than worrying about getting into it. That is way more stressful,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
that's how this can help transcend in other areas of your life too. With because I deal with worry and anxiety and fixating on things that like you worry about the future, it may never happen. Right? Like with remote viewing, like looking at future events, like when I first joined the team years ago, when we do future events and like simple things, Dick would be like, "Oh, I see this major snowstorm coming, probably somewhere in the Northeast," and I'd be like, "Oh my God, that's where I live. I got to prepare." Like that anxiety would just hit me, and you have to learn, like, I'll get through it, man. Like I'm just gonna get right in with it. I'm not gonna sit here and worry about it. That was
That's right.
really hard for me though. That tying remote viewing into it, it was really hard for me to be able to balance having this type of information and not losing your mind every time you look at it. It's hard.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now that we're talking about it, I think it was working with cold exposure for the reasons that we just went into, has helped me deal with world events, quote unquote,
Yeah.
in a much better way. Um, yeah, I think it has helped me with that a lot, actually.
I believe it, Edward. I mean, if for those of you watching, go back and watch the early videos from COVID and look at our faces. I mean, every week, I mean, we would laugh and we kept each other's spirits, but it was so heavy. And we just sit there and we'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And week after week. And then we got into the Ukraine war and we were still like, when is it going to end? And we were just so beat down and defeated. And I think through going through that process and then things like the cold exposure, we found a way to, doesn't mean I don't feel it, doesn't mean I don't get nervous or anxious at times, but
Right.
to better deal with that stress, right? To breathe through those tough moments,
Right. Right.
you know?
And I think that I'm glad you brought it up again because the breathing element is more important, even in my opinion, than the cold water exposure.
Right.
Because stress, I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I can definitely speak for myself. When I'm under stress, I shallow breathe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I look back at my, uh, um, I'm, I have panic and anxiety disorder as well. Had full blown panic attacks and all that kind of stuff. And when I look back at it, shallow breathing is the
It's
one
there.
constant.
Mm-hmm.
Shallow breathing. I'm not
Yeah.
getting enough oxygen. My brain is freaking out. Now I got cortisol pumping through my brain and my veins. I'm not breathing. And that's a big part of what I've learned from taking this on as a practice is that the breathing part uh, is the most important element, the deep breathing.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
that almost. I haven't done it today. I typically do it every single day. I put on the a
Mm-hmm.
Wim Hof video, guided breathing, and my wife will maybe she'll do it with me, or maybe she'll do like the red light therapy or something like that. And I'll do 30 minutes, 35 minutes, which is 30 big inhale
Yeah.
exhales,
Right.
and then exhale everything out, hold the breath for a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. Big inhale, hold the breath for 15 seconds, exhale everything out, and then start the next round.
Yeah.
And uh, if you want to see, it's another thing, dude, just like the cold water exposure. If you want to see where your body's chemistry is, you don't need to go buy a test. do the breathing
Hmm.
because if you're overly acidic, you won't be able to hold your breath out for an extended period of time. You'll feel your body, the acidity in your body will be immediate as soon as
Mm.
you exhale everything out. And you can't hold it for very long. You can feel the
Yeah.
acidity.
Yeah.
And, but as you work through that, the breath will alkalinize the body. And then after a couple of rounds, you exhale everything out. Hey, I don't feel it so much. I could do a minute,
Yeah.
minute and a half. I don't
Yeah.
feel it, and you're in control. You're affecting your own chemistry of your body. It's freaking awesome, man. And it doesn't
It's
cost anything.
right. Just your time, right?
It's your
Which is okay.
time,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
I've noticed every so often I wake up with a panic attack, but I have to say meditation and remote viewing has allowed me to separate myself. So now I just have the physiological response, but my
Yeah.
mind is calm, right? I understand what's happening. I know that my body's shaking and I feel like I got to fight and it's this awful feeling in my body I can't get rid of.
Yeah.
But my mind is very calm now. I'm no longer panicked and thinking I'm having a heart attack or whatever. So what I've started doing now is I get in the cold shower. So it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning and
That's
I'll wake up with
yeah,
a panic
man.
attack. I go right to the
Yeah.
bathroom. I turn the shower on cold and I don't want to
Right.
get under the water, but I get under the water and I breathe. And then after
Yeah,
about
yeah.
5 minutes, it's
You
over
got
and I
it.
go right to
Yeah,
sleep.
you
Otherwise,
got it.
it's 2 hours of me tossing and turning, trying to wait for the
Yeah.
sensation to pass.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
amazing.
good reset for my nervous system when that
Totally.
happens.
Totally, man. It's a
Yeah.
total freaking reboot the computer.
Hmm.
And then you can go back. You got, good neurotransmitters moving through your brain. You probably go sleep like a baby after that.
I do. Yeah.
You pushed it all, you pushed it all through, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to. And I think that's where it all comes together, with this whole process that we go through with, learning remote viewing is a great step, but then there's the meditation, there's the cold plunge. I mean, we've talked extensively, there's yoga and the breathing we've learned from yoga and the mindfulness. And there's
Yeah.
all of these things, these tools that come together that build on one another, right? It's not just I went and I learned the structure of CRV and now I'm a remote viewer and it's great. Like all these other things have helped me in session and out of session for what I try to do and how I try to live my life.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you can step back and see it.
Yeah, it is. Remote viewing, is a lifestyle.
Hmm.
And when you dedicate enough time to it or your life to it, it becomes a part of your life. And then it's like you start looking at things that you can do or change in your life that are going to benefit the remote viewing more.
Right.
And and then it just becomes a part of the life. And it's not even really about a remote viewing session. It's just kind of like who you are now.
Yeah.
And then it's like you want to do things that are going to benefit that part, you know. It was funny because
Yeah.
I wore this shirt here. It's my Wim Hof. Get high on your own supply.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's
Get high
perfect.
on your own supply.
Perfect for tonight. That's it, and you're right, Edward. It becomes a lifestyle, and I feel it takes a while to hit that threshold's not the right word, but to just step into it and say this is my life now, right? Because when you're making a new habit, it's difficult. It's not just like getting in the cold water, right? It's
Yeah,
difficult, it's uncomfortable, it's forced. And then you just reach a point where you're like, this is my process. This is my everyday routine. This is no longer something I have to force myself to do. I enjoy doing all of these things because it's now a part of my life. And when I
that's
don't do
right.
these certain things, then I feel off and I have to seek
That's
them
right.
out to do them to find my balance again. Where before, remote viewing was very uncomfortable.
That's right.
And now for me, I've reached a point where I just enjoy the process. It's not like stage one used to stress me out so bad, looking at an
Mhm.
ideogram and trying to describe it and decode it. And
Yeah,
now I sit down and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I feel the whole story. Like it's there, and then I get to go through and unpack it, and It's
Yeah.
not stressful. I mean, if it's stressful, I take your advice and say, this isn't remote viewing. I'm going to try one or two
Right.
more radiograms. Doesn't work. I'm walking away,
Yeah.
but I just reached that point and it's just such a neat place to be.
It is. And it's, I think that, I mean, I don't know how other people live, but I can imagine that anyone who has some deep passion in their life, that thing just becomes a part of who they are, whether it's a sports thing, maybe they're into sports, maybe they're into music, or whatever. Maybe it's their job, or maybe it's their, I don't know, whatever their profession is, but it just becomes a part of who they are.
Yeah.
And when that happens, man, it's like a blessing in life because now it's like you have a purpose, but your purpose became a part of your lifestyle. And isn't that
Right.
freaking amazing?
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
amazing. I'm always reminded of this. I used to play this for my students. Alan Watts, he has this talk that he gave, and it's called "What if money were no object?" He says, "What would you do if money were no object?" And he goes through and basically he breaks this thing down, and he goes, it boils down to do what you love. Figure out what it is that you love and that you want to do, and do it often, and do it until you become a master at it. And once you've mastered it, you can start charging people money and people will pay you for that thing that you do because you do it so well. And
That's
I've
right.
always tried to hold that. And I look at that, and I am far from a master, but I get to podcast and I get to do remote viewing, to supplement my income. And that's such an amazing thing. Like I am so thankful for that. But it's not something I felt. I mean, there's hours. I'm not at 30,000 hours, right? But there's as you know, there's hours of work and stuff, especially with
Right.
podcasting, like hours and hours and hours of building a show or figuring out where my voice is and what
That's
my
right.
style is, all of it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
as I make my way towards mastery, I'm not there, but someday I will be, and it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it really is, man. It's an amazing journey.
Hmm.
And just grateful for it. Like, and I think the coolest thing, for if we're talking about remote viewing journeys, is um, having had to. I don't want to say had to do it, but doing it for so long with no reward at all.
Hmm.
Just no reward.
Yeah.
Other than that little voice saying, keep doing,
Right.
do
Right.
it. And man, thank God for that voice, man. I'm
Yeah.
glad I listened. I'm glad the voice was there and I'm glad I listened. And I say that many times. You say, well, what about that session? What about that session? All I can say about it is I'm glad I did it. I'm so
Yeah.
glad I did it because I could have not done it. And that would have sucked. I'm just
I've
glad I did
got
it.
I've got a growing stack of those sessions where it's like, wow, I'm thankful, gratitude. Like I had a session yesterday and I wanted to cry afterwards. It was one of those where it was like I just had an opportunity to look at something where number one, I learned, and it was just such an incredible experience to have that. And no one's here. No,
That's
I'm
right.
not talking. It was just me sitting in my office by myself at like
Yeah.
5:30 in the morning, doing a
Yeah.
session, doing a target. And it was
Yeah.
such a neat experience, that I'm thankful for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind saying it that for me, remote viewing is a totally selfish endeavor. We do it for the public to see it and experience it as well. But I see it like I see the breathing meditations or the cold showers or the ice plunges. It's a completely selfish endeavor,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and that I came to fully accept that as selfish not being a bad thing,
No.
in that it's the drive. The driver is to go a little bit further, not because, I'm doing a selfie with it, or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
because just like when that cold, man, I gotta get to the edge, man. I'm going to the edge. I'm at the edge. Oh man, I'm right at the edge. I don't know how I am at the edge right now, you know.
Right.
Oh, I made it past the edge, man. I made it past it. I made it past it. I'm good. I could stand here for a frickin' hour now. You know what I mean? I went
Right.
past the edge. I went past it. And remote viewing is the same kind of thing. And it's really it's I don't know what other word to use other than it is a selfish endeavor, you know, in a good way.
It's a it's I feel like for me it's this calling I've had my whole life, right? Like I need to learn something and I don't really know what it is. I know it's in this area. I know this is a road or a tool that will get me moving in the right direction. Is it going to lead me there? I don't know. I won't even know. I don't even know where there is. I just know everywhere, every time I think I'm almost there, it's like, okay, you're at a bus stop and here's your next leg of your journey that's going to take you 5 years. Right. And I don't expect to ever get there in this lifetime, but it's just this. And sometimes you sit there like the cold plunge. Why am I doing this? And
Yeah,
all I can say is it's that inner voice that I keep following that if I ignore it, my life feels unfulfilled or incomplete.
absolutely.
It's a strange thing. It's a really strange,
Absolutely.
and I've come to accept it, but yeah,
Yeah.
keeps us
Me,
going.
I had to too.
Right.
And it was um like, man, if when I get this inner voice or drive that, you know, do this, if I don't do it, my life sucks more. If I do it, something cool happens. Maybe I should start
Hmm.
listening to it more.
Right.
And then I
Yeah.
did, you know,
Yeah.
and you did. And it's
Hmm.
like, wow, man, it's kind of like an internal GPS,
It
you
it
know?
is when you really learn to listen to it, you know.
Yeah.
But
And
that's
I think that probably, if I think about it, the one the internal dialogue that really changed it was, okay, if I get off my ass and do that thing, my life is better. If I stay sitting on my ass and don't do anything, my life gets worse. Oh, I'm going to get up and it was easy
right.
math after that.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Yeah.
the
Once you
math
start
was
to
pretty
realize
easy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it takes it's trial and error, right? Because that voice is pretty quiet in the beginning. And then your other voice is like, nah, that's not it. Don't do that. Like you have again,
Yeah.
just like sitting in the cold, right? Get out. It's cold. It hurts. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you really have to, as you're going through these other stages of this journey, you have to quiet those other voices that are telling you to get off the path, to go
Yep.
do something else, to go do something that's going to be kind of mindless and take you away and confuse you.
Yep.
And when you learn to listen and go against what other people are telling you, what your religion's telling you, maybe what your upbringing's telling you, and just go be a trailblazer for
Yep.
yourself, it really opens up some neat opportunities.
That's where the opportunities are.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
again, in my opinion, it's kind of a selfish endeavor. You know, I'm
Yeah.
doing this for me. I'm doing it for me. You know, and then
Yeah.
but then and on the other side of that, when you do something, you benefit. I mean, let me try to explain it better because I have a feeling somebody will be saying, "Oh, he's so selfish. What are you doing?
I'm not getting that impression,
You
but
gotta
I
be
understand what you're saying.
selfless and all this kind of." Let me try to reword it. And I'm not speaking for anybody but myself. I'm
Right.
only speaking for this is how my process works, is that uh, as a personal motivating factor,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
that it is what will pull me in a direction
Right.
that I might otherwise sit on the couch and wait that one out, you know.
Right. And
And
from what I've seen, because I think we have a similar approach with things. It's like we're in this for the experience, right? Like when I got invited to join the team years ago, I was like, I don't give a shit about cryptocurrency. I don't even know what cryptocurrency is. I might be able to learn remote viewing. I'm in. Like that was that because that's where I wanted to be. I lost the rest of the point that I was going to make. It's, I think you and I, we have a very similar approach to things where it's like, I'm going to go have this experience regardless of what anyone else is telling me or what other opportunities may be presented to allow me to do it. I'm going to do this no matter what.
Yeah.
And as part of my experience, I share it with the world, right? Like you've been
Yeah.
making YouTube videos for years. So,
Long time.
that's,
10
and that's a
years.
very selfless thing because these experiences are very personal. Like these are your experiences with some would say the divine, right? With something higher. You're bearing your soul in a lot of ways as you're going through this. And you put that out there for other people, myself included, to learn from, to be inspired by, to blaze their own trails through that. So,
Yeah.
your pursuits are I'm listening to my voice, which you can interpret as selfish. I don't think that's a negative thing either. But you give back so much. You really give back so much of yourself and your journey, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, in that regard, like that's kind of what I was trying to say, and I think I got a better way of saying it now that we're talking about it deeper, is that I, and for myself personally, I will be driven by it as a selfishness for
Hmm.
my pursuit, but I'll share it with everybody when I'm done. You know,
Right.
I'm more than happy
Right.
to share it with you. And if you
Right.
benefit from it, that's fantastic. So
Yeah.
it's like, but my reason for going for it isn't for anybody else but for me. You know,
Right.
that is what's going to drive me. And then I'll share it with everybody. So
And
it's kind of like,
I think that makes it genuine,
I hope
right?
so. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and there's I guess opportunities where you do things for other people that's very altruistic, just in a general sense for, in terms of humanity.
Yeah.
But also you're not doing it so you're going to get likes. You're not doing it thinking
No.
I'm going to be the hero. I'm going to be the one. You're doing it for you
Yeah.
and then you're sharing it and if someone else is interested and benefits from it, great. And I
That's
think
right.
that's very real. That's very yeah, altruistic is
Authentic.
the best word. Authentic. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Totally.
There's an
Yeah.
authenticity to it. You're not performing. You're going out
Exactly,
and
man.
having experience and you're sharing it.
That's right. Yeah. And then after it's done, if you have some documentation of it or whatever, share it with somebody and maybe it'll help them too. And then
Right.
everybody's better off
Right.
by it.
Agreed.
Uh, yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
And that's
I like that way of doing it.
and that's the thing about remote viewing too, right? You need to be raw and honest. Like whatever's coming through, you just got to put it down. You can't be worried about what's someone going to say. Are they going to like that
Yeah,
I'm writing this down? Or,
that's right, man. Yeah.
just got to record it and then to share it. I think to put your work out there publicly, again, I keep coming back to it, but like you're exposed, you're vulnerable. What if this is wrong? What if this is weird? What if I sound nuts? You know?
Yep.
But as
That's
you're
right.
doing that, you reach that point where you're like, this feels good. The anxiety now is gone because I put it all out there, good, bad, and ugly. And
Yeah.
here it is. Judge me
Yeah.
if you want to, but here's what I did.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in that, you're like, I think I've been putting a video since 2012, so we're at like 13 years
It's a long time.
of that stuff. And and it's funny because I've been putting it up and then just getting a couple of views, be like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody's watching this.
Yeah.
And that's a funny thing to go through. If people start looking at your stuff, it's like, oh, then you got
Right.
to adjust to that. And
Right.
but with remote viewing being such a niche, uh, you know,
Hmm.
um, it's not like millions of views.
Yeah.
So it's like you can still kind of be in your own little pocket where you're not trying to appease everyone. You know,
Yeah.
you're still working to just be authentic to yourself.
Hmm.
And if some people like to watch it, man, that's awesome. But it's like I think it was David Bowie said it. He said he was talking about performing, and he said that, and I don't know if I believe him when he said this, but he said, you know, the day that I go out on stage and I'm performing for the guys up in the stands, that's when I know I got to hang it up because I got to go out there and do it for myself.
Yeah.
They'll benefit from it more if I'm going out there and doing it for me to see
Hmm.
how good I can do. I'm going out there to do it for myself. And I love that he said, I don't know if I believe him. I mean, he was he certainly did love the fanfare, uh,
Yeah.
but
But that makes sense as an artist, as a creative
the
person,
idea is
you
there.
know.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I even look at like Dave Chappelle, a great stand-up comic who, walked away from that $50 million deal because for a lot of reasons, but
Mhm.
there was a level of inauthenticity there. And he had the
Yeah.
courage to say, this isn't what I want my art to be, and I don't want you to own my art.
That's
And you
right.
look at
Yeah.
Prince too, right? One of the most talented musicians in the world, has ever seen. And same thing. I mean, he changed his name to a symbol because he didn't want to give money to the industry. And
Right.
he was just in like you want to see somebody in flow. You watch Prince perform,
Yeah. That
you
guy was
know?
into it,
Yeah,
constantly creating and,
constantly.
just a total lifestyle,
Right.
total
Right.
lifestyle, total
Yeah.
expression of that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Edward, we've covered quite a bit. We wanted to talk about the Luminosity event and some things that tied to current events. Do you want to maybe do a quick half hour separate segment on that? Because I think
Yeah,
this
sure.
this is a great conversation in and of itself. I don't want the luminosity to get lost in this, if you're
Oh,
okay
yeah.
with that.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Okay. All right. So sticking with our cold and into the cold with Edward and this journey, this spiritual journey. Any other final thoughts on that?
Man, if someone is interested in working with cold exposure, start very slow. We're not giving out any medical advice.
Right.
Definitely, don't do anything I'm doing. Do your own research. Start slow and enjoy it. It's like we're talking about now. It has become a part of my lifestyle now,
Hmm.
where it's
Yeah.
like, just like remote viewing. When am I gonna do a session is typically where my mind is my next session. Now it's when am I gonna do the next cold shower? When am I gonna do the next ice bath? That's just part of the lifestyle now. And I'm
Hmm.
just so happy. I'm just so happy about it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a great natural thing to do, and glad I found it, man. Really glad I
Yeah.
found
Yeah, me
it.
too. Wonderful advice, and I want to piggyback on that. It's if it's something you're exploring, do your research. Make sure you're medically safe to do it. When I started, it was my shower. My shower it's fancy. It has a thermometer on it. 68 degrees. So it was a cold shower for me. A 68-degree shower, and it was like 30 seconds at the most in the beginning. So it took a while for me to, develop the mental toughness to get into the much colder temperatures, and it's only recently, like the last month or two, where I've really been able to push into it. So it's okay. You don't have to go hardcore and jump into a big tub of
Right.
ice. You're going to shock yourself and you're going to hurt yourself. Just
Yeah.
take it slow. Listen to your body. That's the whole point, right? Listen to your
Yeah.
body. Listen to your, that inner voice that's telling you what you need to do.
100%.
So. All right, Edward, it's been another great discussion. For those of you watching, Edward and I are going to have another separate discussion that you can look for as well, talking about the Luminosity event. That was 2023, correct?
It was, yeah.
And possible indicators. Today's June 16th, 2025. Possible connections to what's unfolding in current events with the drums of war right now. So that's going to be a separate conversation that we're going to get into in a minute. It should be published. I'll probably publish that one first. So if you haven't seen it yet, go back and check it out. So on behalf of Edward and the Future Forecasting Group, Dennis Snappy II, thanks for watching.